with the last kind of couple of records, they've been amazing, they've been fantastic, but they've been doing kind of a similar thing. So to hear them kind of extend their hand further out into the darkness and it sounds so great is just even more exciting for me. Hey there guys, welcome back, and hello if you are new. So it has taken me a little bit longer than I thought it would to get around to doing this video, mainly because quite apt, I was in Sweden last week, which is where the band I'm going to be talking about today are from. We went to visit Stockholm and it was really, really cool, and we even stayed literally just in front of the Äternum, which is where Tribulation's live album was recorded, which was kind of cool, and one of the, I think, first records that I worked on with the band. Anyway, so after 2023's Hamartia EP, it's finally time for a brand new Tribulation album after their 2021 release, which was Where the Gloom Becomes Sound. So here I am diving into Rosa in Æternum. So if you're not familiar with Tribulation, they are absolutely one of my favourite bands. They have been for many, many years. I think that they are really exciting and have brought black metal, death metal, things like that into a different arena than, you know, maybe they might have been in previously. And I've not really featured them that much on the channel because I've been working them. And my sort of rule is that I don't really feature anything that I'm working alongside, you know, just for conflict of interest and things like that. But in terms of sound, you know, they kind of combine elements of classic rock with the atmosphere of like 80s horror. And now they've added another string to their bow. But yeah, it's kind of like, imagine Led Zeppelin meets Dracula, by way of Immortal and Dark Throne and stuff like that. Really, really interesting sound. So the biggest changes on Rosa in Æternum, and it's one that I've been kind of, I guess, waiting for quite a long time, is the addition of clean vocals. I think that their music is so dynamic and really does lend itself to those kind of ebbs and flows that you would get with the changing of like vocal patterns and things like that. So I was really excited when I first heard this. The Unrelenting Choir is kind of like a really nice introduction into the clean world of Tribulation, I guess. But the biggest, I would say, sort of second thing is the fact that there's more, well, maybe not more, but some emphasis on post-punk, you know, that sort of gothic vibe, which I think has always really kind of been in the undergrowth of Tribulation, but here it's kind of really brought forwards a lot more. I think that the clean vocals do make things more memorable. You know, we've got tracks like Drink the Love of God and Hungry Waters, for example, prevalent in pretty much all of the instruments. You know, it's a little bit more sort of restrained. I think that Oscar Leander's drum performance is more of that sort of like that you would have in, you know, post-punk bands, more kind of gothic Sisters of Mercy kind of vibes. But you know, it adds a different shade to this. Well, no, it doesn't add. It casts a different shadow, shall we say. Poison Pages, for example, is a great way of showing kind of how these two different styles really work well together. It's also worth mentioning that the clean vocals were actually a surprise to the band, which I thought was quite cool. I found that out in my interview with Adam Zars that you can see. Rupert's just woken up, which I've made live on my channel as well. So if you're interested in, you know, finding out more about this record, then I definitely recommend that. That being said, though, despite all these sort of additions, the twin guitar attack, you know, that I've loved for years and years is still very much there. You've got tracks like Time the Vivid Ore, Hungry Waters, and Drink the Love of God, which all kind of, I think, will appeal to old Tribulation fans, you know, maybe that aren't sort of like of more of a gothic persuasion. But in terms of this record's themes, It's more of a Italian giallo kind of lavish horror with a Roman style decadence to it. You know, it's kind of, they've focused on more murder mystery than maybe sort of ghouls and Dracula and things like that, which, you know, they kind of have done in the past. But I also think there's a bit of a through line in the idea of colours on this record, particularly black, white, red, you know, the main colours of the album cover. The red, I think, you know, really represents kind of things that have always been quite close to Tribulation's heart, like murder, sex, roses, passion. It might also be because a lot of the, you know, the videos that the band have been making are all in red as well, and it kind of evokes that sort of Suspiria, you know, kind of slight fantasy kind of feel. But it's also, I think, very descriptive and very fragile. You know, it talks about beauty quite a lot, but also the fragility of life and death, and how easy it is to go from one to the other. The record is also the first album to feature Joseph Toll, who, if you're not familiar, Jonathan Hulton, the band's longtime guitarist, left literally as Where Gloom Come the Sounds came out. And he does an amazing job, and he's put together some songs which are real standouts, I think, of this record. Like Time the Vivid Ore, Hungry Waters, Tainted Skies, and The Reaping Song that have all been written by him. And I think, you know, he does a great job of bridging that gap of kind of previous Tribulation that we know and some of this newer ideas that are being experimented. So the atmosphere, I think, has always been key on Tribulation records, but here I think it feels more refined, it's more mature and kind of less hammy. You know, the unrelenting choir starts off with that bum 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 bum, which for me reminded me of those, you know, classic horror movies, you know, sort of like giallo, I guess. And just that sort of, almost like John Carpenter a little bit as well, which I thought was really cool. And then you've got Poison Pages, which has sort of Gregorian choir. Tainted Skies has got these sort of female vocals, which feels like a soul escaping into the night. It's really cool, but also different at the same time. There's a lot of classic and sort of renaissance, I think, to this record. And, you know, especially the album cover, it's very much timeless. Even the album's title, Sub Rosa in Æternum, you know, in Æternum forever, you know. But the way that Adam sort of mentioned it to me was like forever esoteric, which is exactly what Tribulation is. And yeah, it's just a really, really, really brilliant record. I'm really glad that they did this, because I was thinking, you know, with the last kind of couple of records, they've been amazing, they've been fantastic, but they've been doing kind of a similar thing. So to hear them kind of extend their hand further out into the darkness and it sounds so great, is just even more exciting for me. Sub Rosa in Æternum is Tribulation proving that they are just as competent navigating waters of post-punk and goth as they are death metal, black metal. And as I've said, you know, if anything, it's just made the band even better for me. It's, you know, really kind of broadened their horizons even more. And that is why they are one of my favourite modern bands out there. They are absolutely fantastic. And in terms of a rating, I would say this record probably I would give a 9 out of 10. There were a couple of times where it did dip ever so slightly, which is probably why it's not kind of like at that 10 mark. But absolutely love this band. They've done so well, and it just feels like we're just getting started in this new era of Tribulation. So I hope you guys enjoyed this album review. Let me know what you think in the comments underneath me. I always enjoy, you know, reading them and replying to you guys where I can. Check out the interview if you do enjoy this, and I will see you guys very soon for another album review. Take care, my friends.